Hey guys, what's up to this morning? I have to apologize for a start, even though this is for entertainment purposes. For all of us with a sense of humor, I had Friday yesterday all day long. Yeah, that's what I thought all day long. So I had one hell of a day. So I get 2 Fridays this week. Works for me. I'm going to be here all week. Yes, I can feel the stampeding to the door even now. The whole house is shaking. I did not look at news this morning. I admit, I just said, nope, I get the advantage of having 2 Fridays, so I'm going to enjoy my Friday. I was also supposed to clean the house today, but I think with having an extra Friday, he's just going to go with it, you know? Cleaning doesn't fall in there. So I have an excuse to get out of that, too. Let's see. And I did not edit last night. I did not check what rhythms I had going, algorithms, not rhythms. So I'm hoping that, again, my plea for help today will be reached out and replied back to. I still need a whole bunch of likes, guys. I'm still trying to get to the 1,000 so that I can carry on this social Woodstock thing. I don't know. That's what it is to me. And I spent a whole hour yesterday fussing about it. So I'm not going to do that today. I figure it's going up a little at a time. And maybe, just maybe, I'll get lucky enough to hit that 1,000. I'm going to keep on trying. I'm not going to quit. Although I'm sure there are several family members who would prefer it if I did, and they don't have to see it. So I don't see how I can be bothering anyone else, or anyone at all for that matter. Let's see what all was going on the last time I checked. Well, you know the Fawcey, whatever, in Fulton County, who was in charge of suing Trump for, she was the DA. I don't know if she still is, but probably it's Georgia. Long story there. Take 3 books to cover just what little bit of time I have lived here. And I've been here off and on for 30 odd years. So you can put that in your thought processes and see that this doesn't bode well for Georgia. I prefer Texas. I love Texas. I hated leaving Texas. I also love Georgia. There's a lot of good things about Georgia. It's the same with every state. You know, there's a problem somewhere, and usually it's in the government, either their actions or their non-actions. But it's something to have them in your face, you know, giving away trillions of dollars while you have homeless people on the street. Some of them have. I've caught some of the YouTubes of people going out and interviewing people. I've caught them. I started catching these different programs on YouTube because I was interested in doing it, but for several reasons. In any event, I saw one where the gentleman was, I couldn't see who it was. You could just hear their voice asking people who got that 5 buses pulled up. And where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? I see that seems to have gotten stuck again. It just does it to me. There they go. And they were from, where are you going and where are you from? And it was Nairobi and things like this. So they were from everywhere. Honduras, Guadalupe, Mexico. And where are you going? New York, New York, New York, Texas, New York, New York, New York, Alabama, New York, New York. It's really not that big a state if you look at it on the maps. It's like I don't know how they fit the people they have in there. And going and sending an immigrant, illegal alien, whatever, uh, to send them there where rent for a closet is $1,800 a month. I just don't, I don't see how that's going to help much. They do work as migrant workers, and I have nothing against anybody coming to our country. I just wish you would do it legally. Excuse me. And I can understand why they're not. I mean, when you live in towns that are so poor you can't afford to feed your kids, and a president of America who is land of the free, if you can, hey, baby, just get down. Don't make mama spray you, baby. I have two that are reticent, very reticent in their personality, cats, I mean. And if you spray one of them, they'll be scared of you and they'll hide for a year. We have 4 black cats that were rescued out of the boat, all tied up in the netting, and we lost the mother. She stayed with us about a year, but then she just, it was failure to thrive, and we lost her. I lost my lady Cinders. She was another one that was, she was a domestic, and somebody just threw her out, and it just kills me to this day that I only was able to give her 2 years before she passed on, and she passed in my hands. And that's a hard subject to talk about since we completely gone away from where it was. If anyone knows anything about an organization, anything that will help animals and like take them on or even do free spading and neutering, please throw it in the comments. Every little bit helps. We're in Augusta, Georgia, and I don't know what else to say. We have 2 pregnant ones. We cannot take them to the shelters here. It's an instant kill order if they're pregnant, for one. Same as if they have kittens, they're all. And so we have 9 cats out back now. They don't stay there, bless them. There's a wooded area, not a forest, but it's a wooded area around half of our home. And people just throw them out. My husband has caught them doing it. And these are domestic cats. They can't, they don't do well in the wild. Even the others that are born in the wild are barely able to make it. In the winter, anywhere. I see people leave their animals out all the time. They're part of our family. They stay in the house. They eat well. And I couldn't take any more than we have already taken in inadvertently just because we saved their lives. And so even though we lost 2, and my husband is a great guy, he's a softie like me, and he won't let something starve and die. Not, no. If it's our last penny, and believe me, we have gotten that low in the past few months. Um, but they were fed. Us not so much maybe, but I can afford to lose a few pounds. So if anybody knows anything about that, or there's anyone that would like to have a kitten for free, we would charge nothing. You would, however, have to take them and pay the vet to have their shots. If it's a male, I advise you to make an appointment ahead of time to have them neutered. It's usually $75, and if you accept a male, they won't spay around the house. That skunk-like smell that takes care of all it. They take the glands out, and again, if it's a female, even if you don't chip them, they get out. They can't get pregnant. So either way you go, we have ours spaded and neutered. So either way, if they get out of the house and they're out for a week or 2, they don't come back, with babies. But we can't do that to those outside. We wanted to go ahead and buy. I see that just runs right up, but it's just stopping. It's running and stopping, and that's not normal. Let's see what we can do with these. It seems to be stuck. So we're gonna do this. And I can't believe it. When I'm watching a movie, it has to be on like 24. And the only things you can hear that go up are the bullets. And here we are. I threw it up on a music channel to play through the podcast in the background. And it's on 7 now. And I can barely hear the music. And if I were to turn this one up, the next one would sound like it was at 25 volume and you could hear it in the street. So bear with me again. I'm production sound set maker. I had 3 wardrobe malfunctions this morning. I kid you not. This is the 4th blouse. And yes, I am completely dressed. Just for, let you know that I'm not just sitting here because you can see the top. I'm sitting at our bar at home, and as you can see, I need to clean. Yeah, it's more than I can do sometimes. I'll tell you what. Uh, it doesn't seem quite fair to do that to me when I get 2 Fridays. If I could do that every week and just blame it on, oh, well, I just lost a day or whatever. But my husband this morning, when he was getting ready to go, he was like, "You're not getting ready to broadcast yet, are you?" I was like, "Yeah, I finally got the time change, guys. I didn't for the first time in a long time. I didn't catch any commercials or anything telling me that we were springing forward on the 10th. And suddenly it was daylight, and I'm always up before daylight. I watch the sunrise, have some coffee, all the cats are fed and stuff like this. And then I usually head for a shower. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Because it was daylight. Finally, I was like, and my phone and the kitchen clocks were all the same. And I didn't notice on my computers, well, they're Chromebooks or computers, whatever you want to call them, had a different time. And I didn't notice that. They're in military time, but believe it or not, I still can use that. So I was like, I didn't notice it. And I said something to my husband, my phone's a different time than my watch. I think my battery's running down on it. And he had bought me another new watch, and I prefer Timex because I give them a licking and they do keep it. But he got one with a little bit of turquoise and filigree on this one. But he knows I like time. Honey, I've got a box for like 40 watches. And at one time he put batteries in like half of them until I stopped him and said, I can't wear all these at the same time. Do these four. So I was like, what's the difference? Oh, I don't know. We'll get you a battery. He knew the time jump forward, never told me. Mm. Figured that out yesterday. I asked Google, and I had to ask. I have a Google Doc my son gifted me for Christmas 3 or 4 years back. They were fairly new then, so it might be longer. In any event, I always yell, what are you doing to my chair? Piece of it. Robert bought me a nice red armchair because we changed everything, and he had bought a sofa and uh, we call them love seats here. I call them settees. But in any event, a matching suite for the new way we were decorating. And uh, we got rid of two china cabinets and put it all into one, and I love it. And he went off to get the bar, and I admit it's funny as hell because he thought he was getting like a half the size of this bar, maybe even less. He thought he was getting like this small one that he could can and quarter. And, he'd have a nice little bar in there. Now, he's got a Remington bar, several $1,000s, with the backup mirror. And I mean, he could run Logan's bar. I love this thing. I love it. I love it. So everything came out except the one big china cabinet against the wall because the bar has the rest of the room. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We only got two chairs because we don't get a lot of people coming around anymore. Most of the family is his. Well, it is his. My son is my only immediate family and my grandchildren. And I have a stepdaughter and three children, although they're really grown. I mean, because her oldest boy went and trained at Fort Sam Houston, where I used to train the nurses back when I was stationed there. So that was really awesome. I thought that was so cool. And his older sister is Army, and she's airborne. Again, way cool. And her youngest, Eli, is still in school, and he's about to. I believe he may have hit freshman year in high school. He was definitely younger, 7 or 8 years. I can't never remember these things. And then our son and daughter here, well, my son and daughter-in-law, he had a daughter when his son was 13. So he's 25 and back out of the Army now. He's a veteran. And they have a 13, well, she'll be 13 in August, just before I turn 43. I love that. It's kind of like this backwards count. People believe that, don't you know? I'm going to be here all week, leave tips in the jar. So they got a little ways to go. But now my granddaughter is the same height as I am. And she passed me as far as intelligence. She passed me when she was 4. Beautiful child. Will never ever need to learn how to wear makeup or use makeup. Just a beautiful and intelligent, super intelligent. So is my grandson. Some of my other step grandchildren, they're also smart. Awesome. Mm. I don't know what I would have done had I had this equipment at their age and I wasn't having to run and carry 20 books back from the libraries because I needed it to have at least 2 paragraphs on Peru. And it was just ridiculous if we ever learned anything. I mean, the card catalog was our Google, and people couldn't use the card catalog. I know I used to do volunteer work at the library, and I could take as many books as I wanted because they knew they were coming back in about a day and a half. Because I read voraciously and I read fast. And I know this because I used to teach when the electronic typewriters kicked in after the manuals were finally stopped being used, I taught typing. And they used to get so upset because, and I didn't set the bar very high. I left it at 60 words a minute. And at that point, on an electric typewriter, I was already typing 148 words a minute, which was more than double. And they kept getting really upset because they kept, and finally one girl said, well, we want to see you type 160 words a minute. Really wrong choice of words there. I said, so you want to make this a bet? Okay, then we'll make this a bet. You have to grade the papers for the next month if I can't do it. I mean, if I can do it. And if I can't do it, I will come to your house and I will clean your house for you for free. And she said, okay, Mom will go for that kind of thing. We didn't have cell phones, so we can go check. And I said, you get to administer the test and I'll go first. And, she hit that thing. And it would tell you every line, every word, wherever you stopped at, that would tell you how fast you were in a minute. And of course, mine was 148. And she just sat down, just she didn't want to tell anybody what I had done. The same thing happened with my first mother-in-law, and I adored her, I admired her. She was a really good businesswoman. I worked directly under her, and she used a little bit of clout so that all I had to do with the civil service to take the test, which I aced it too, and I worked directly with her. We were the ones that put the food stamp program together and did all that, and so that's kind of cool. I don't think people believe me when I tell them that, but we did. That was what we did. And when that was in full place, and she begged me to stay. This was, of course, in D.C. We lived in Chevy Chase, Maryland at the time. And I had my young son with me. And his father was supposed to be in San Antonio getting us a place to live, and I was going to transfer. Uh, didn't work out that well. But I didn't stay because, of course, I had a marriage and so forth. And I got there, he had not worked. I ended up working a couple of jobs and finishing out college and then throwing him in and paying for his. So it was a busy time in the 80s. In any event, yeah, she did not want me to take the baby. And I wish I hadn't actually walked away from that position. It took me, this was when the Clintons came in and they started sealing all the bases off and closed them down. And it didn't matter if you were civil service back then, they'd get rid of you. Basically, if you were civil service, you you were set. You knew you were good. Okay. Then they started using temporaries. They didn't hire anybody but a temporary. No matter where you are, didn't matter civil service, whatever. It screwed me out three ways south. I'm just saying. It's hard to work with those kind of conditions. I managed, but it's so hard. Now they've gone back. My son and my daughter-in-law have been working with civil service for 20 years. And they could probably retire soon. I doubt they will. We'll see. And they're both hardworking kids. And my daughter's a nurse, my stepdaughter. And like I said, her son is a medic. And I was been in on his training, and I still been at Fort Sam. I still love that. And most people trained actually their boot camp. He also trained at Fort Jackson, where I did. Uh, so it's just those little things that were so cool. And it's hard to believe that we have grown grandsons now. That'll be the second one that's served. And so I actually almost tear up thinking about that. That I'm that old. I just don't have babies yet. Please, the first one that calls me great grandmother's going to throw me straight into a stroke. It's going to be all over. But the ambulance ride. But that's enough about me and my family. I see we've approached too much talk time here. Again, I think I touched on the fact that we were worried about Princess Catherine. Maybe not a lot of people in the U.S. are, but I was, and I appreciate that she made sure that we understood she was okay, and she has a long road ahead of her to be okay, and that was what all of us wanted to know. We had no right to ask her to do that. But at the same time, we were frightened to death because she's always there, and for her to just simply not be there, it was rough. Everybody was very worried. You're on my shoulder again. This is such a strange cat. No, 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 no. I know you see yourself on TV. That is my pixie. Yeah, and you can see my eyes are giving me such fits. Until I sit down to do this, they don't bother me that bad. And I took my medicine. I'm just gonna have one of those days. Uh, it annoys me when it does this because it actually hurts. Your face hurts, It's like there's a little dwarf there with a hammer, ting, ting. I've seen those in the clocks in Europe. They're awesome clocks. I mean, I gotta admit. Don't you think about that? I hate to do this. Pixie, Pixie, stay down. Sometimes I hate to, sometimes I'm pushed. just, it's just, we've done so much and it costs a fortune. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to do um, a GoFundMe page. I don't know, but they need help and we cannot continue to help them if we can't keep them from breeding. We can't see something starve, but we're at the end of our rope and money. I can't say that anyone has tried to help. But sometimes you get to this age and you go, I know I raised my kids right. They have great spouses, they have great kids of their own. And at the same time, you go, well, I haven't heard from my daughter in law, or I haven't heard from my son, or I haven't heard from my stepdaughter, or the kids, or the grandkids, and you go, we have a whole house. We're not living in an apartment where somebody else mows the yard, somebody else helps clean the house, or brings food by or whatever. And my husband is approaching 70, and I'm approaching 45. I couldn't say that with a straight face. Well, we hate to ask for help. I think everybody is like that. They don't want to bother anyone, so they don't want to ask for help. I've been trying to tear down what's left of my hot house, the tree. He managed to get that finally, got a chainsaw and cut that all off. But still, some of it is he had to cut in situ, and the steel frame and the wooden floors are still there, and some of the pieces are screwed in or hammered in. So I'm going to need some equipment to finish getting that off. I've got it pretty much off, and I've got the items inside it almost finished. We had a lot of plants, so I have quite a few more. I'd say half a dozen or more planters that I need to get out, and some of those were huge plants. And so, heartbroken about those. I don't like to see anything alive die, but I imagine we'll get to it. He's been covered up working and doing this, that, and the other, and he drives their wrecker for the picking up a rig, and they don't charge $5,000 to take it 4 miles. Once a wrecker is called for a big rig, they just made 20 grand. I mean, it's a business, I'll tell you. It's a good business if you can get it. It's like one of those, it's good to be the queen or the king, or because they can charge a lot. They added their gas in because it's through the roof, as everyone knows. Um, let's see. I had touched just on the point that the uh, DA, whatever her name is, who is paying the new attorney that she hired to work. Now they had looked at this guy's had to send in like I used to do when I was working IT at Bluebird. You, in many places, considering it's the 21st century when I worked there, it's like, but you had to fill out a payroll sheet. You did X amount of hours that day and so forth. Well, I always worked just a 40-hour week. I have to do that any more than that. And if I did do more than that, I wasn't doing my job, which was, did you plug that back out in again? And did you unplug it and plug it back in? That was basically what AT did at the beginning of the 21st century. I do have a flat screen. I admit to that. So, uh, Where's I go with that one? I can't even remember now. Oh, ITN them, yeah. So we got all of that finished up, and they act like we can't do things with these because we don't know anything about them. But if you call and ask them for help, you don't want to. But if you do, they're busy. There's a football game on. They have a date. And so, you just can't do it. You just can't call because then you feel like, you know, and the bad part is they know you don't want to call. My son will be 45 this year. We're all 20 years apart. He and his son, me and him. So you don't want to call him because, like I said, even if you do call him, you're going to come away a little disappointed and a little, upset. But everybody has a life, you know that. It's one of the reasons you don't want to call. Um, but you think to yourself, this is why I've asked everybody, please like, please share. Don't leave me out here by myself. Just like, at least like. If you could subscribe, that would be awesome. My daughter-in-law did. She's one of the few subscribers I have. I don't have that many. From what I understood, and I've done the tutorial test through YouTube so that I can understand what I could and could not post along with the beautiful me. Sorry about that. Couldn't resist. So I think she's one of only, I have 3 subscribed right now. I have plenty of likes, and the viewership is going up. I think that as again, maybe the time slot, I'm not sure. I drop it in Facebook because I have several hundred friends on Facebook, but they're not responding, which is disheartening, I must say. The family that I have is really my husband's family. And again, I can't really ask them. And I haven't made any friends technically down here. I don't really go anywhere. And it's hard to talk to folks sometimes. Um, it's babies and hair colors, and I'm talking purple, pink, green. I put that stuff in my hair. I put that froze with my hair. It's and I've got grandchildren, grown grandchildren, and I'm not a baby kind of like person. It's not my type of thing. I like to talk about ghost hunting, uh, storm chasing, things like that. What's happening to the euro dollar? How many billions did they give to, you know, who? Anybody? I mean, come on. I bet you if I had a second longer to think about it, there's probably 20 countries we send a billion to every year. Right after you get through filling out those forms so you can give them your taxes again like they didn't take them to begin with. So you're paying them twice. We all know this because they hit your payroll taxes on every paycheck. And then at the end of the year, they say, well, this is the money you take your taxes from, which is what you earned, not what you saw, not what you took home, but what you actually was paid, irregardless of them taking X amount out already. Jesus, cat is so persistent. What are you doing? Go! I'm going to have to kill a cat today. She climbed up me, with her claws. But you got to be kind of something to not be screaming. She's doing it again. Pixies, get there. Guys, I was wrong. I was going to scream between my eyes doing this and talking about family members. I really hate to ask. I want Woodstock, social Woodstock, to take off. I can't for a second believe that I'm the only one out here. There have to be more of us. What did I just tell you? Get down. Don't yell at me. You stay in the chair if you'd like, but you're not going to get over my shoulders and walk across me. Stay there, Pixie. She's in one of her moods. The others have gone to sleep, which means I have to do work. So, it's Friday. I'm going to take it as a Friday. And I have the feeling that I'm going to I can go about this two ways. I can quit. I'm not made that way. I'm not going to quit. So we know that's not going to work. And I'm going to quit. I don't care. Nobody sees it. I'll just sit up here and talk to myself every day for the next however long they let me do that. And in the hopes that I will get some viewership. And my husband said, well, there's another way as well. You can do your own promotions and you can, do your own advertisement. And you buy this through YouTube so that I guess maybe they post them and do things to them. I don't know because it's all very new to me. And I just did not want to put good money after bad. I'm a published author as well, and that was something on my bucket list. That was a lot of fun. It's like Lord of the Rings kind of thing. So I didn't want to venture into another avenue. That was what I wanted, was the fun of being free and open and talking to people and sharing ideas and talking about how much had changed and that we predicted it. Yeah, or 82. We passed that sucker smoking in 73. I mean, America the free. If as long as you do what they tell you to, as long as you give them half your check. They actually figured it out by what they take, and then they take again at the end of the year. And everything that you put your hands on to buy, they added it up. And we pay 3/4 of our earnings in taxes. It's amazing. There's no wonder we're starving to death because we don't have any money. You're not giving us a hotel for 5 months. You're not giving us even back the money you stole from us that it was never used. You just took it. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme on the planet. And yes, and the Blackhawks, I'm hungry, tired, and you guys would be fun to hang out with. It's just saying, like they don't know what I'm saying. They'll take it down. They don't like it when we tell the truth to each other. That's why I said, let's do the social Woodstock. How many millions of us could they turn and say, take it away? Oh, they could. Yes, they could. Donald Trump has to put down $500 million. You're screwed. If you are a business in New York, you should have done closed the doors and went to Puerto Rico. I mean, this is why Levi Strauss and the rest of these people do not make their products here. This is why. Because they take your chip and that's it. You done. They freeze your assets. They move them over into the courts, and the courts people help themselves freely, i.e., this Fannie Willis and Nick somebody she paid him, it was just under $1 million. And it was out of the confiscated monetary funds on a particular rapper. So they had 1.5 million in jewelry. They don't anymore. It's gone. But this guy made $1 million. Not in a year, not in a month, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I was going, and I got sidetracked, and they got all this down. They finally, one of the attorneys that everybody, including the judge, keeps telling to shut up because she got the real deal. And yet, what happens? Nothing. They found that she was guilty of, I forget what now. I didn't see embezzlement or treason on there, so I was kind of disappointed. She's way guilty of all that. His assets need to be frozen. The, That's what I was saying. The payroll vouchers that they would send in, these are done by hand, like I used to do them at IT. That's where I got distracted. And they would say 8 hours at $250 an hour would be this, and then it was 24 hours at $250. And supposedly charging only $250 an hour, he amassed $970 or $60,000 at $250 an hour. That's a that's a hell of a job. I sure would have loved to have been his secretary. Sugar. Mm-mm. This is the reason I always say I like these because they go out while I talk. Um, anyway, that they had, uh, I don't know what's going to happen. They hadn't charged her. That's bloody theft. Um, I don't think, I don't know what they will do with either one of them. Probably nothing. She should at least have been remanded from where she's at now. And I don't know. The whole thing is so in your face. And it's not just these people here. They, they're all doing this. Uh, they wanted the police defunded because if the and they, I guess in their minds they think if the police arrest you, you're going down. But if the police don't arrest you, no matter what you do, you won't go to jail. Well, that's true so far as I can see in San Francisco, New York, Seattle, Chicago, Indiana. There are quite a few. I also really want to know what the hell a sanctuary city is. So, I mean, these people were going in and just grabbing what they want, walking out. That's it. Walgreens, I think, closed everything in New York, all of their stores. I was watching these silly Karens, and I thought, you people have seen these reels on TV where the cops, they can't keep them in. There's no bail. I mean, literally, they don't have to post any bail. I imagine the bail guys are having fun with that. They don't have to post anything. You take the cuffs in, you make the report, and they leave out. That's it. That's all they do to them. So they're smashing and grabbing and shit. And if they get caught, they go in the front door and out the back door. That's it. They don't have to pay nothing. There's no bail. They're not allowed to keep them in jail apparently either. I don't know. But I was watching these Karens because I was like, oh my God. If I'd have said that, I'd never have got way out of jail ever. I mean, and they're giving them their back over just like anything to get them to stop y'all. We won't put you in jail. They keep doing it. They'll get right up in their faces. And I'm thinking, I'll pepper spray you. I will tase you till you can pee in your pants. And then I'll throw you down and cover you. But finally, they do. They say, okay, you're going to jail now. Because they'll hit the officer. They get their, and this is after they've been told 4 or 5 times, you're free to go. Just as soon as I hand you this ticket. They'll even get the ticket and still keep going. I mean, they're not arrested for anything but stupid. I mean, how many times can you do that to a cop and the cop go, look, I'm just going to give you a ticket this time. I won't let you go. I'm like, oh my God. But that's not the way. They're watching probably what had been happening in like 21, 22, when people would just smash and grab, take anything they wanted. Because the cars were on fire, and so was the police office itself was on fire. And apparently it was okay to do that, deface the Vietnam Memorial and anything else you wanted to deface because nobody had a problem with it and you weren't going to jail. At some point, I hope they figure out where that money came from. Follow the money. Who was paying these people? You can stay out of work for 5, 6, 8 weeks and protest every day and then go back to your old hotel. You can't afford that. So who was paying all that? How did they get the money to do that? I mean, cops were dying. They were coming up to the squad car like they needed to answer a question or something and shoot them in the head. I didn't see millions lined up for their duties, and I didn't see a gold coffin paid for by the Hollywood elite. I, that I did not see. And I believe in our men and women in blue. I know, and these Karens, as I was missing. I mean, I would have folded long before those officers did. And like I said, I'd have tased them a couple times, pepper sprayed them, thrown them down the face, and put handcuffs on it. They and these cops are bending over backwards and still get down there and sit down. I think in the last 2 nights, I have been so tired that I have actually slept about 6 hours last night in a row. That's so unusual. Picks him up. Get down then. Dick, there it goes. Oh, won't you do something else besides make me scorch you? I hate to scorch you. Ugh. And then I get up with this, the headache face, and you've got yellow all over your car. And I love this part too. There are, if it rains and it will this afternoon, there are rivers of yellow. Damnest thing I've ever seen. Never saw that anywhere else but Georgia. Never. And I've been all over the world. I used to love Germany because I would walk with my baby he was in a preambulator. We call them bubbies. Buggies? Bubby, buggies. Okay, this is why I have no viewers, isn't it? Maybe I should just borrow a straight jacket and say hi as I go. Anyway, or hi as I mean. these these Karens, as I was saying, they are cracking me up. I mean, at what point do they understand they are deep kimchi? I think I spoke about it yesterday. Today, as I was getting ready, and I didn't do this whether I go on or not, and I tend to just sit in my room and watch a little of the TV. And there were four women, and they were at Walmart and Target. They would go in. The one gets all the stuff, puts it in the cart that they want, and they go out the door with the cart. And then they come in with a buddy, and then the buddy goes over to pay for what they just took out the door. Well, now it'd be a little hard to do that without scanning it, yeah. And what they're paying for is not what went out the door. I saw this for four people. Two were at Target, two were at Walmart. And on top of that, they all had knapsacks on. And in the knapsacks were controlled substances. Was it marijuana? I don't know what it was. Some was pill form. I don't know what it was, but it's a controlled substance. And usually that means something like pain pills or something like that for it to say controlled substance. I know what a controlled substance is because I was on them for years, which is why I like taking my gabapentin because it's not a narcotic. And I can function, but it helps with the pain. It takes that pain back down to about a 4. And you start screaming at 6 or at least time too. And you're in the ER at 7, and they can't find out anything other than it's deteriorating, and they can't stop that. So I'm looking at a lot of pain for a while, I guess. These girls come out of there. Oh, no, 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 this is paid for. My friend's paying for that. And they're like, you didn't scan it. How could anybody be paying for it? Oh, no, she's paying for it. And they'll stick to this, or she's paying for it, she's paying for it. And then finally, here comes the employee person. And they're like, oh, no, take the whole cart and pay for none of this. And they go back in. And then, because they know the girl that was with her, they had cameras everywhere. So the cameras come up, and they get her and they stop her. She's checking out a few things on food stamps. And they're going, the lady outside says you're going to pay for these items. And he's now got the cart and he's with the Walmart employee. And she says, well, those aren't mine. So they're like, well, we know that. But I'm sorry, but it's so funny. We know that, but she said you're going to pay for them. She said, well, why would I pay for somebody's stuff that I don't know? She's just burying this girl. And this wasn't a little bit of stuff. This was uh, probably would have been at least $600 to $800 with tax. She was probably talking $1,000 or walking close to it. And so they tell her to stop doing what she's doing. They ask the manager, can you take that off of there without there being a problem? And they go, yeah, of course we can take that off. She said, what are you doing to my groceries? What are you doing? Taking me somewhere? What are you doing? And they start screaming, because they've already grabbed her wrist and put it behind her. And she's taking one out. And so she's fighting. And they finally get her handcuffed, her frog marching on the way out. And next thing you know, she's the second one. And she said, I was paying for that stuff. What are you doing to me? I'm paying. I wasn't dealing nothing. Why are you doing this? I'm paying. And it's because you put stuff you didn't pay for in her card. And then they're like, what? It's so cute when they get going. So it's a four of them. I guess they had, and again, I think they had seen videos of this being done in Walgreens and Walmart, and Target, all that in New York and others. a couple years back, and the cops wouldn't come. And these mom and pop stores, they started hiring uh, people to stand in front of their stores, because especially at night, because they were just driving into them and taking everything. And finally, I mean, it's just tents of people living in the streets. They're defecating on the street and so forth and so on. That's, oh my God, you believe the things that can come up from leaving human excrement everywhere and garbage. And, there are so many diseases that these people could be catching it, and it's not funny. I mean, typhoid, so forth. I mean, you got summer coming up, you get dengue fever. These people don't seem to understand that the reason most Americans and others who come here are fairly healthy in our system and in the British system is because the shot records and so forth are kept up, and these kind of things do not happen. You don't have tent cities so that you're not exposed to diphtheria, typhoid, smallpox, whatever. You're just not. And now we've had the COVID scare, which we paid for. I found that highly interesting. And went right back to paying for it once they wanted to make sure, they don't want Trump in there, because then they're not going to have those hundreds of millions of dollars to play with. Because the businessman, now I don't know about his private life, and I don't really give a rat's butt. That ain't my business. That ain't nobody's business but his life. If his private life interferes in his office, well, that really shouldn't count either, because Clinton was doing his own pages and stuff in the Oval Office. You know? Uh, mhm. Obama was a good president. Bush was not. I'm not sure what the heck Bush was doing or what the first Bush was doing, but their grandfather was also into politics and so on. I mean, look at that. And we had no reason to go to Iraq, because Iraq did not and was in no way involved in the 9/11 attacks. Look who the terrorists were. Why did the Pentagon never say anything else about them being hit? Why aren't those people being recognized? How about the people on the plane that hit down in Philadelphia? What happened to them? How come nobody's in? The only thing you hear about is 9/11. 9/11, and it's the towers. It's the towers. Why did Tower 7 fall? Look at the buildings. Pull up a map and look at the buildings. And how the hell did 7 fall? Nothing hit it. Nothing. Mm, nothing. Debris, nothing. Oh, it got coated with that fine dust. That doesn't bring down a building of that strength and time. But somehow, Building 7 went down too. And they all three pancaked, so that whatever buildings were around them weren't affected. Well, that doesn't work. It's not normal either. I don't care how much jet fuel you've got running down. It doesn't. You don't get molten steel. You do, but there's a thing that the military has that uses it. Is that, so far as the engineers say, that's the only substance that they know that can turn the particular steel girders into molten metal. Something else to think about. Mm. I do want to see that movie though, the fourth Ghostbusters one. That's going to be good. Dan Aykroyd and all back. That's ought to be just Howler. Ought to be Howler. I love Dan. He's so cute. And he and Roger, his brother Roger Aykroyd, put together sightings. So that, I mean, he wrote Coneheads, the movies. He wrote all the Ghostbuster movies. It started him. I mean, he's smart as a taco. And he's good. You would look up his bio. I'm not gonna waste more time on that one. Let's see, I'm running out of time. So we know that all of this is stuff, nothing. They have not yet done anything to stop what's going on at the border. He even managed, Biden, I can't say the office, was actually talking about what had happened to the young lady who was murdered by a man who had murdered before in America, I think 3 times, had been arrested and let out the back door. He killed another young lady. I think she, as she was a nurse, she was in training to be a nurse. Like she, probably 21-year-old girl. Never met this girl before. Did nothing wrong. She died. And yet, when he was talking about this, he used the wrong name. The wrong name. He didn't care that the people that he's making sure got across the border for free get that money, get their food, put them in a hotel, and shoot the nursing student on your way. He was good with that. Again, I say, and I cry, treason. That's treason. But they hauled Trump up for for what? For what? Yet they won't put Biden up there? Why hasn't he been freaking impeached? He's beyond treason. But I'm not afraid to say that, and I don't see anybody popping out. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we are a nation of cowards like we're being talked about. I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't yet met too many cowards, you know? But it's a good thing to be afraid of a government that would do the things that they're doing to us, like taking all of our money in taxes. It's not like that Tea Party is going to work a second time. It's just not. Again, it'd be taking a knife to a missile fight. So we're going to lose that. It's a free country as long as they can keep all the money you paid in for 50 years for unemployment. As long as they get to keep that, now that's a free country. Don't you say nothing about that. We'll have to shut you up. What happened to freedom of speech? Well, it only goes so far. I mean, what do you think they'd be interested out there, guys, if our social Woodstock took off? And that was one of our main questions. When do we get our money back? When do the people at 65 years old who no longer work and are getting what little bit of Social Security they let us have, what would they do if suddenly on this channel we had 50,000 people going, where is our unemployment money? We didn't spend any of it. Could we have it back now? It was taken by the government, so the government should be giving it back. If they can give millions and millions of dollars to every other thing, is that the money they're giving to others? Those of us who didn't collect our unemployment? If so, that you need to give it back to the people you stole it from. So we'll see. Come see me, guys. There's all kinds of topics that we need to be addressing here before they stop us. Is it just me? Or is there anybody else out there with those questions? Anybody? How come the insurance companies, government says we got to have them? I've driven 34 years. I haven't used them. Did they give me my money back? Oh, hell no. Are they going to? Yeah, here's your sign. No, they're not. And they're not going to give you your money back. They're not going to give your kids money back. They're not going to give their kids their money back. And I think that's more than a viable subject to talk about. As a hippie, we used to talk about that crap in 1974. Yep. It's time for a round table, guys. It's time for the shit 70s show to start over. I mean, it's not funny, but it is. It's not like we're going to be able to change anything. And I don't believe in a protest or anything like that. But I do believe in the fact that we still have freedom of speech and that we do have a way to do so, that we can reach out across the world and talk to each other if we use it. I hope you come and join me to use it. And if not, I will keep trying. If there's anything anybody could think of or that they want to see, I can investigate that and then we can go from there. If you just want to talk, I have live chat open the whole time I'm on. If you're not on live, throw it in the comments. I promise I'm bad about that, I know, but I will try to get to you. Um, Again, I need you guys to subscribe, like, I really, really, really need the help. And in the meantime, I'm going to get off and probably do nothing. So try to have a good day out there, guys. Like, share, tickle the bell. I appreciate all of you. Have a great Friday one more time. Toodles.